Hello everybody, my name is CreatorTheModerator, your favorite moderator, and welcome to the Five Nights of James developer commentary. Now I've decided to make this developer commentary before releasing Five Nights of James a QUINQUENNIALS end, because, well, why not? So basically, I'll be explaining how the game came to be, why it came to be, and just basically everything surrounding the game. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Ah yes, Five Nights of James, the original game that started it all. It was originally supposed to be just a joke game for my friend James to play on his own, but then turned into a series of games. Now, the reason I started making this game was because, well, like I stated before, it was just supposed to be a silly game for James featuring himself. But it was also to finish a video series I was doing for James at the time. That video series being a sort of thing where I was the phone guy calling James in FNAF 1 and 2. So this was inspired by a video that most of you have probably seen called If Foxy Was the Phone Guy. So this video series got two parts, one in FNAF 1 and one in FNAF 2. Now I wanted to make a FNAF 3 one too, but the issue being I didn't have any ideas for calls. So I basically just translated the FNAF 3 calls into French and recorded me reading them. But I quickly realized that idea basically sucked, so I scrapped making a third one. But I still wanted to make a third one, so after meeting Meta Games, a FNAF fan game developer known for his Final Fantasy series, and now his new game he's working on, Repainted in Gold, and playing Final Fantasy 1 in some stupid night to Meta Games, he inspired me to make a game 2. And from that came Five Nights of James. Five Nights of James, being the third video in the series, was supposed to be based around FNAF 3, hence why every single asset in the game is from FNAF 3. The game takes place in a modified FNAF 3 building where you have to face off against James, Sad James, and Oliver. The James pictures seen in the games are the ones he sent me for me to use in the video series I did before the game. I wanted this game to be a surprise, so I never told him to take more pictures for me to put in the game. And as for Oliver, well, anyone watching this channel will know that is me. Although that's a very ugly version of me. The game was made on the FNAF Maker engine, and it had a lot of restrictions. The core mechanics in the game are the mask and the music box mechanics, as that's basically all I knew how to do back then. I wanted to make a door, but it didn't seem to quite fit into the FNAF 3 office, so I didn't add it in. By now you can probably imagine that only having to use the mask and to wind up the music box probably gets pretty boring. And you'd be correct, with the nights being 10 minutes each and having two characters come at you where you have to use the mask and one you have to find the music box, it's pretty boring. Hence why I never recommend anyone playing this game. This is also where Oliver got his infamous name, the Fat Guy in the Box. I was watching a Twitch streamer who back then used to be called RealFakeJG, and I recommended him Five Nights of James and he played it. While playing it, a guy in chat called Oliver, well, the Fat Guy in the Box, and that name stuck until this day. Sadly I don't remember at all who said it. Now, as for the story of the game, when making it, I didn't have a story to the game really. It was just supposed to be you, the player, getting invited by James, your friend, over for a challenge where you have to survive against him and Oliver, and that was it. It was supposed to be a one-off cringy game for James to enjoy. But we all know, or don't, how that went. When making this game, I didn't have plans for a sequel either. It was only until I saw the game getting over 600 views on GameJolt where I decided to make a second game. After seeing that the first game exploded, and by exploded I mean got 1k views and a few follows and likes, I decided to quickly make a second game, which rushing quickly to make a game isn't the best idea, but whatever. Five Nights of James 2 takes place in a real life house where you fend off against the same cast from the first game, except that they're broken and bleeding / robotic. The pictures seen in the games of the house are actually pictures of the old apartment I used to live in with my family, and the office being my room, from the point of view of the bed. To think about it, I never asked my parents for permission to take pictures of our house and put them in a game, but oh well, the mechanics in this game are exactly the same as the first game, except that now, Oliver doesn't use a music box and is also a mask mechanic. So yeah, it's also very boring, and I think it crashes after a few seconds of booting up a night. The game was also made on FNAF Maker, and I also don't recommend anyone playing this game, as it isn't very fun, and funny enough, this was the time where I wanted to make it on ClickTeam Fusion, but I tried making it on ClickTeam, free trial edition, and I failed. As for the story, I didn't have a story planned for this either. It was just a quick game that I made after seeing the views on the first one, and yeah, the second one flopped hard. Even Super Defar played the game, and he deleted the video a bit after because it was so terrible, which was why sometime later, I decided to make the next game better than both first games. Well, it seems FNWJ2 didn't do well. Let's make a third one, and let's make it better! FNWJ3, the third installment in the series, and it was supposed to be the last one actually, but we'll get to that later. 3 new characters have been added to the game, however. A new James with long hair, and who is a bit more yellow, a new Oliver, less ugly looking, and a new Stickman character, CreatorTheMod. Yes, myself. Again. For this game, I asked James to take new pictures so I could use them in this new game, and he agreed. Then I also just took some myself, and there we go, new characters. As for the office, I just drew a FNAF 3 kind of styled office, a door on the left which you could close, and it has a window at the bottom, in which you could see if anyone's there. In the middle, a window with an opening at the bottom, and on the right, a vent in which a character would come in from. This is the game where I first added an actual working door mechanic, and I thought it was a huge improvement at the time. In this game, I made it so the old characters from the first and second game came out on night 6, so you'd basically go from 3 to 6 characters in one night. And I made it so basically 2 characters use the left door, 2 characters make you use the mask, and 2 characters make you wind up the music box. Nothing extraordinary. And the art style as well? No shadowing or anything, it's all bland. Awful. In this game, well, no real story I suppose. The only story I basically did, I'm pretty sure, is that the phone guy is Oliver, trapped in the game with you. And some nights he's like, oh, you've been here for 3 years, let's become friends. And also, at the end of night 6, we can see an image of the protagonist standing in front of new James with an axe, wanting to destroy him too. And that's pretty much it story-wise. I still didn't have the story in mind while making this either. Funny enough, this game was made specifically for the person I mentioned before, Real Fake GG, as he said that he'd play any Five Nights with James games when they came out, and he ended up playing like night 1 of the game and never coming back to it. Again, I have no idea where he is now. I'm pretty sure he's changed Twitch accounts. Other than that, that's it. I didn't try making this game on ClickTeam, but I did change engines. I discovered FNAF Engine, a new FNAF making engine which is actually a lot better. I highly recommend it. Anyways, let's move on now. Five Nights with James 4, the game that wasn't meant to be made, but was made anyways. This game, like I said, wasn't supposed to be made. I was actually working on a FNAF game that was going to feature my whole class from like 3 years ago, but I didn't get to make it because I only had 4 people interested out of like 26. Anyways, FNAF 4 is the 4th installment in the series. This one takes place in a weird building with a huge office. This time, there were no stolen camera assets for the rooms, all drawn by me. The graphics don't look good at all in this one either, so bear with me. The office being really long was done on purpose. I wanted to make this game hard, and so you'd have to preemptively close some doors before going to the other side of the office. There was a strategy for it, though, by Samir956, where you can keep the right door closed for the entire night so you don't have to worry about it. Pretty neat. This game was supposed to be the best game in the series, as it had more characters and more stuff to do, featuring 10 characters, 2 doors, 2 vents, and 1 front door. This is also the first game where I wanted to start adding lore to. James on the first night reveals to you that you've been stuck in a loop since 2018, which is actually to 2019. I also wanted to add lore notes that would, well, give out lore, but I scrapped that because I didn't know how to make it on FNAF Engine. And yes, I was still using FNAF Engine. This is also the game where I decided to make a custom mechanic for one of the characters, instead of just doors plus mask plus music box. I added a custom mechanic for Alan, where Oliver would say, "Alan is coming," and you'd have to click on a button on the cameras to stop him from coming. The mechanic worked half the time. Sometimes Oliver wouldn't even say Alan is coming, but Alan would still come. Or you'd press the button to stop him, but he'd come anyway. Yeah, FNAF Engine had its quirks, or maybe I was just dumb. Like I mentioned before, this game wasn't originally supposed to be a James game. It was supposed to be a game for my schoolmates, but I never got to do it. Which is also why, when you're in the office, if you turn on the front flashlight, you can see some stairs on the left going up. This was supposed to be tied into the cameras. I was going to add where there would be a second floor with different rooms for each character, and it'd come down the stairs to attack you, but since I wasn't doing the same game, I didn't do those cameras, but I guess I forgot to change the office, it seems. I also made this game for Super DFAR, as he said he'd play the next game, but he played the first night of the game and never got back to it. Some things never change. Let's move on to the next game. One of my favorite games in the series, One Night with James's. A game that I made during my birthday for Samir 956. One Night with James's, not at James's, was a game inspired by One Night at Flumpty's, and was supposed to be a game where you face off against every single James from each game, and also a new James, in a small new building with each James in a different room. It's probably the hardest game so far. As you can see, I've also had a little graphical improvement with a new light shadow thing. Pretty cool, right? This is also where I decided to do some perspective stuff and more animation. You can see when the James comes into your office. And guess what? This game wasn't made on FNAF Engine. I instead finally got around to using and understanding ClickTeam. This was the first James game on ClickTeam Fusion. I was still pretty new though, so there were many bugs and the code isn't the best. The challenge of this game was that your power wasn't very good, so you had to conserve power a lot while also having a lot of characters coming out at you. One of the main power drainers was the top vent for the James, which had its own power usage. If you let it get to red, then the power will just skyrocket down. And the other challenge was listening for footsteps and sound effects. For example, the bottom vent had a specific noise compared to the top vent, which had a different vent noise, so you had to distinguish both of them. Then you also had to listen for the footsteps of some of the characters to know if they were at your door or not. Pretty challenging in my opinion. One Night with James's was also where I started using cutscenes and making custom music. For example, the main menu music was made by me. It was also supposed to be like a goofy sounding song for its half-serious game. Then you've got the credit song, which was an extended, and I guess you could say remixed version of the main menu song. And to this day, I think it's a banger, especially this part. Then you've got the extras menu, which was made by a good friend, the Noteless. It was also pretty fire. It was meant to be like a song you'd hear in a gallery or mall on the speakers, and I like it very much. Oh, and speaking of cutscenes, I also made one for when you beat normal mode, where you can see Oliver playing Minecraft, and the clock, which turns from 5 AM to 6 AM, and James appearing behind him, squatting for some reason. And yes, this is where I started planning out some lore. In this one, Oliver and James were trying to make Five Nights with James 5, but James hit the wrong button and trapped himself with you in his own loop. So the whole point of the game is basically survive the night so you can free James so he can continue working on your prison. So for those who have been in the game, congrats! You signed up for another year trapped with James. Now let's talk about the hard mode. This was supposed to be a challenge, harder than any other from the other games. So instead of just doing a hard mode where they're all on 20, I decided to add in some extra challenges to hard mode that you can enable to activate extremely hard mode. Those challenges being longer nights, more power usage, less reaction time, and no lights. The last one being the reason you needed to know the movement sounds. Without it, you'd basically be screwed as you can't see who's at the door. This hard mode has had a few updates to it, as sometimes I'd make the power go down too fast, or maybe a character wouldn't move, or maybe there was a super easy way to cheese the game. I'm looking at you, LactosFR, the one who beat it before I made it harder. Yeah, I see you, Lactos. You couldn't beat the uncheesable version of it. You're literally a loser, bro. This is also the first game where I implemented trophies to the game. You'd get trophies onto your GameJolt account for doing certain things, which I thought was pretty sick. Other than that, that's pretty much it. Let's move on to the next game.
Hello YouTube, from the CreatorTheMod YouTube channel, or maybe I don't know if he's gonna ask me to send this back, but anyway, hey guys, I'm LactosFR from the LactosFR YouTube channel, and Creator has asked me to come on here and talk about his game for his developer commentary. He said, oh fuck, wait, what he said? Oh yeah, he's sorry. I'm sick right now. I quite enjoyed the game. It's pretty, not kind of fun. I think it's pretty fun. I think it has a lot of personality, and when I hear the theme song, I mean, like, I bet if you just heard like the first 2 beats, you would know what it is. Like, if it was a bigger game, I reckon. Yeah. I reckon. Any hoozle. Yeah. I think the game is like. It's difficult, but I don't think it's unfair. I think it's just quite... I think I'm just bad. Late epic bad. Yeah, and I think... Yeah, I like all the characters. They're pretty silly, even though they're all just James. Jamesception. Yeah, big fan of the CreatorTheMod. One Night with James game. I made 2 videos on it. Watch them. They'll probably be. I'm not gonna say link them in the description, but link them in the description. Just playing. All right, that's all I gotta say. I don't want to take up too much of Creator's gameplay. Frick yeah. Creator, feel free to edit some bits out, by the way. Okay. Anyway, bye.
Alright, so FNWJ2 Remake, I don't really have anything to talk about. It's a remake that I made like in 2022, I think. I just redrew every camera, the office, and made it on FNAF engine. The only difference really is that it's no longer pictures of an IRL house, and that Oliver doesn't use the mask and you have to close the window on the left. That's pretty much the difference. And okay, there's also a door on the right that you have to close, so there's 2 door characters and 1 mask, and that's pretty much it. Nothing really different, so that's really it. Nothing to talk about. No story either. It's the same. Alright, well, let's move on to FNWJ3 Remake. FNWJ3 Remake. What, personally, also one of my favorites. So basically, I remade this game because the original, as you probably saw, looked kinda bad and wasn't the best in gameplay. So I decided to remake everything except the cameras. The cameras are still basically the pictures from the original game, kind of. It's just that I re-edited them to make them look a bit better. Because there was no perspective, and James and some of the cameras looked weird, so I just made them look better. I did like better lighting. Like, you can see the office, it's already better. It looks a lot better. There's a door on the left, the same mechanics. It's just that I changed some. For example, the new Oliver, he doesn't make you wind his music box anymore. Now he will randomly laugh and disable your doors, so you basically cannot close your door. So you have to go on the cameras and look for a code that's gonna basically make him go away. You have to go on the cameras, find the code and put it into the monitor in front of you, which is gonna basically make him go away. And speaking of the monitor in front of you, on the monitor you can, especially like FNAF 3 as well, you can repair some systems. One of the best features in this game, in my opinion, is the clock. So you can see the clock at the top left. Basically every second it's of course gonna tick, and basically the clock is it's your time. So if the clock stops, the night stops progressing, so you have to keep the clock from stopping, which is why you can repair it. Then you've got, fix the cameras, which fixes your cameras. Duh. I don't remember the third one. There was fix the clock, fix the cameras, and there was something else. I don't remember, but whatever. So yeah, that's the monitor. It also shows you how much power you have and how much you're using. For the other characters, now, old sad James, he doesn't make you put on the mask anymore either. He comes in front of you, and there are two ways. Either he's gonna be visible in the hole, and you have to click him to punch him, or he's gonna appear in a random spot in your office, and you have to drag him to the vent on your right, and that's gonna send them all the way back. And the others are basically the same. There's the door, and an old Oliver One music box. And then there's also just like, my favorite mechanic is CreatorTheModerator. He's gonna make his way in front of your window, and if your light is off, he's not gonna move. So he's gonna be stuck there. He's gonna be looking at you, but if you turn your light off, he's gonna slowly slide towards the hole in front of you, and you have to turn off the light, the switch at the top. And if you turn off the light, well, it turns off the light, duh, and he cannot see you. So you have to turn off the light until he goes away. But if you, I don't know, if the light is off and you go to close the door, it's gonna turn the light on. So if CreatorTheModerator is in there, you're dead. And I just remembered what the other fix thing is. It's fix the flashlight, because if you keep the flashlight on for too long, it's gonna break it, which was kind of stupid because people never usually turn the light on for more than like 3 seconds anyways. So yeah. For the lore of this game, it was kind of the same as the original third one. The ending is the same. You can see the protagonist standing with an axe in front of James, and there is an intro sequence though, where it's like it's putting you to what happened at the end of FNWJ2 Remake. So it's night 6 a.m. and gas fills the room, and it shows old James with a gas canister where it says sleeping gas, because he puts you to sleep to then put you into the void, which in the void then, you know, your protagonist waits for the next game. And that's pretty much it for the lore. It's the same from the third game. It's just that it's not the same year as it originally was. You can figure it out, it's pretty easy. And this game was made on QuickTime as well, just like ONWJ'S. This time though, it's a lot less buggy, and yeah, it's a lot better than the FNAF engine. I can definitely say that. But FNAF engine, if you don't know QuickTime, I recommend the FNAF engine, or like the newer ones that came out, like Phoenix engine, I think, and stuff like that. Those are pretty good as well. Alright, well, that's pretty much it for FNWJ3 Remake. Let's move on to the next one. Here we are, FNWJ4 Remake, the latest game in the series. So, as it states, it's a remake of the original FNWJ4. So, I wanted to keep basically most of the mechanics, but add in the ones that I wanted to when I made it originally on FNAF engine. Because as I told you, FNAF engine had some limitations as well, just like FNAF Maker, so I couldn't do everything I wanted. So I made sure to make everything I wanted on QuickTime, which is, well, I'll tell you about it in a second. So first of all, there's the office. Now I wanted the office to also be long, but I kind of forgot how I made it, so I just made it into 2 parts. This is the main office, which is you'd be spending the most time in, you know. You've got the middle office, I mean the middle hall in front of you, the left door, the top left vent, and you can only access the cameras in this room as well. And then there's the second room, or the second office, with the right door and the right vent, and there is also the box where the new Oliver is going to be staying in. So the characters, so basically some of them are the same. Like, for example, James version 4, he still goes to the top left vent and says, "You're so bad," and you have to close the vent. James version 3 as well, he goes to the right door and you have to close it, and that's also the same. And Oliver v3 as well, you have to basically want the music box, it's the same. Who else is the same? Nobody else is the same, everyone else is different. So let's start with CreatorTheMod. In the original, he just went to the left door and you have to close it, but in this one it's kind of the same, but it's more complicated. So he's gonna start on a stage, and you have to look at a monitor on that camera that's gonna show which door type works on it. So there's 2 door types, normal door and a laser door. So every time he leaves the stage, that door type is gonna change, so you have to look at that camera to know which one. So normal door or laser. So if it's laser and he comes to your left door, you have to close the laser door to make him go away, and vice versa. Next character, we got Alan. So Alan, I remade basically the mechanic that I made on FNAF Engine, where he starts, and if he leaves his room, Oliver is gonna say, "Alan is coming," and you have to press the send Alan back button. Lewis, which is one of the most annoying in this game, he's gonna make his way into the front hall, and you have to flash him with a flashbang and not your flashlight, and put on your mask, because it basically blinds him so he cannot see you putting on the mask. And then when he comes in, you already have the mask on, so he just disappears after a few seconds. So I think that's pretty cool. Who else? There's Henry Stickmin, Top Hat King. In the original, he just made you put on the mask, but in this one, I added a new phone mechanic thing. So you can pull up your phone, and on the phone it basically tells you the time, and you can play James Clicker. And with James Clicker, if you press him 5 times, at each 5 clicks it's gonna give you some money. And if you get enough money, so $1.5, you can buy Original King cutout, and when you buy it, you can place it in the hall in front of you, and that's gonna do it. So when Henry Stickmin, Top Hat King, comes in front of you, he's gonna look at the cardboard cutout, he's gonna look at it, and he's gonna get PTSD, scream, and shoot it, and go away. And you're gonna have to replace the cardboard cutout every time. And that's basically Henry Stickmin, Top Hat King's improved mechanic. We got Nathan, which in the original, he also just made you put on the mask, but this time, he comes in front of you, and you also have a new mechanic, which is the stop sign. Or not the stop sign, it's no twerking sign, because he comes in front of you to twerk, but you have to turn the sign to face his direction. He's gonna look at it, get mad at you, and then he's a random line he's gonna say, or he's like, "Oh, you motherfucker, I wanted to twerk," and stuff like that, and he's gonna go away. And you have to flip the sign again, you know, because if you don't flip it again and it just stays flipped, Dream Terraria is gonna come and break it. And no, it's not the pedophile dream, it's a different one. It's the Five Nights at James one, so don't worry. Then we've got Among Us. In the original game, he came to the right vent and you just had to close it, but in this one, he starts in his room and then he vents like into an Among Us vent, you know, the vents from Among Us. You can hear a vent opening and closing. He goes into the vent, and after some movement, he's gonna pick one of the 2 vents in your office. There's one in the main office and one on the right. He's gonna pop out in either one of them, and you have to use the megaphone, which is on the second office. You have to take it, and whenever Among Us pops out on either vent, you have to take the megaphone and click on Among Us to send them back. So that's also a pretty cool mechanic in my opinion. I also added like custom deaths for the Stickmin characters and Alan and Among Us. So Stickmin characters, basically it's gonna be like a Henry Stickmin fail. You die and you get the fail screen with all the Henry Stickmin UI, which I think is pretty cool. For Alan, when he jump scares you, it's the Undertale death. A heart appears and breaks in half, game over, and Alan speaks like, "Oh, I'm sorry for punching you so hard and shit." And for Among Us, it's the Among Us death. So if you don't click on him with the megaphone, he's the death animation from Among Us appears. So he's gonna shoot the player in the head, and then the game over, like imposters win screen appears, which is also pretty cool in my opinion. The lore, I got to implement the lore nodes that I wanted from the original FNWJ4. What else? There's the audio logs, which I didn't have that planned for the original, but I wanted more lore, you know, for FNWJ, so I did that too. I don't. If anyone played the original, they would know that the new Oliver was in a room next to your office on the cameras, but that room is missing in this one on the cameras. So when you beat a night, there's basically like a mini game mechanic. No, it's just basically a mini game. After the night, we have to reset from 6 a.m. to 12 a.m. So the protagonist goes into the hallway, which is on the right of the office, and the room that was in the original game is boarded off, so you have to break the boards and go in. And that old room is basically where a character named Enzo is, and there's a big button in front of you, and you have to click and hold on it to get it from 0 to 100 to reset the whole night, to progress basically. And Enzo was actually supposed to be in the like I mentioned in the old game that was supposed to be made instead of FNWJ4, the one with all the schoolmates or whatever, the classmates. And he was supposed to be in that game, but since I never made it, I didn't put him in FNWJ. So I asked him when I was making the remake of FNWJ4 if it's okay if I can use him in the game, and he said sure. So I did that. There are some scrapped things though. Like I wanted to make a little game that you would find in a garbage can in your office. One Night at Samir's, which is an old game that I wanted to make also for Samir 596, like back in 2021, I'm pretty sure, or 2022, but that I never got to make. And I wanted to add it in to this game, but I just didn't feel like it, right? I was like, nah, I don't feel like it, so I didn't do it. There's nothing really else in scrapped content. Yeah, the only other cool thing I added, I guess, was Creepy James, inspired by the Walton Files. He appears on night 6 and custom night on your phone. When you pull up your phone, there's a chance he appears and you have to lower the phone. That's like Golden Freddy, I guess. Which I was inspired by Meta Games, is FNWJ 2 Kosal, I think. That's how she's called, the like pig Kosa or whatever. And yeah, that's pretty much it for FNWJ4 Remake. It was made also on Click-Team Developer Fusion and not FNAF Maker or FNAF Engine. And yeah, that's FNWJ4 Remake. Next, of course, there's gonna be a link to get FNWJ and QUINQUENNIALS, so let's go talk about that, shall we?
You're so bad. You freaking loser.
Alright, so the future of FNWJ. So, right now, I'm trying to work on FNWJ or QUINQUENNIALS, which is basically the last official, like, lore-wise game in the series. A big finale, which I have many plans for this game. I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull it off or it's going to be as epic as I have it in my mind, but I hope so. Right now, I think I finished making the office. I'm not sure. I'm trying to add some more references and like stuff to not make it look bland, but I'm not a creative person. I have no idea what to add. I've already got in contact with my friend if he wanted to be in the game, and he said sure. I've already given ideas to what his mechanic is. I'm not gonna spoil it, but he said whenever I need the pictures, just gotta ask him. So probably gonna do it soon. I'm gonna give him some references as to how to do the pictures, because he's one of the easiest I can really do right now. Like, this is the first character that I can do. I have to start drawing the what's it called? The cameras. I haven't started drawing the cameras at all. Fun fact, there was an old build of Five Nights with James that I made like 2 years ago, before like Five Nights with James 3 Remake and 4 Remake. But my old phone, I lost my data on the app I used to draw, so I couldn't continue drawing for Five Nights with James 5. And my phone is fucking dead. The old phone's battery is dead. So I got a new phone, but I have to redraw every single thing from Five Nights with James 5, which is a pain in the butt, but we'll get there eventually. So yeah, Five Nights with James 5. There are many things to expect. I can already show or tell you about some stuff. I already leaked. I didn't leak. I just showed off in a video. There's gonna be cutscenes. I haven't told anyone this, but I'm gonna say it anyways. This is a special moment for you, I guess, for whoever listens, if they actually care about this game. Five Nights with James 5 is gonna be a store. The main menu is gonna be like a thing you can walk around in. Not really walk around in. It's like a not 3D, but there's basically like one part where you can get ready for the night, and the other is gonna be a store. You can buy stuff for your night and stuff like that. I'm not gonna spoil what you can buy, but a store to help you out throughout the nights. And to get money, that's also a thing I'm gonna say. To get money, you're basically gonna have to do stuff during the night. You're gonna get some money, and if you beat the night, you can also get some money. So there's gonna be a lot of grinding, because you can replay the night you beat to get more money to buy stuff, basically. So there's gonna be kind of a grinding game, but also not. So I don't know if there's gonna be replayability in the game. Probably not. I'm not good at replayability. I'm not a good game dev, you know. I just make whatever. So yeah, Five Nights with James 5. A lot of things to expect. An epic finale for night 6 or 5. I've got some plans. Fucking a guy, Sans is Cool from Indominus Warfare's Twitch channel, gave me an awesome idea, which I hope I can pull off. I'm not gonna spoil it, but it's gonna be epic. Hopefully. I'm planning on having 2 endings for the game, or 2. I just said 2. 2 or 3 endings, probably. So that's gonna be stuff for Indominus Warfare to do, hopefully. Ender, if he wants to get all the achievements, if he wants to keep his title of king, you know, beat everything. How many characters are gonna be? I don't know how many characters are gonna be either in this game. Either it's gonna be like Five Nights with James 4, 10 characters. No, there's 12, but 10 throughout the main nights. Here, I'm not sure how many there are gonna be. I'm not even sure there are gonna be mini games between nights. Maybe. I'm not sure. I haven't planned that far yet. But I've planned out the cameras and stuff already. Nothing much I can say. Just, you know, expect cutscenes, maybe mini games. Expect grinding. Epic stuff. That's pretty much it. Yeah, I can't say much. I'll probably end up spoiling half of the shit on fucking Discord, stuff like that. But yeah, that's pretty much it that I can really say for Five Nights with James 5 and QUINQUENNIALS End, other than it's gonna be epic. Hopefully, it's gonna be better than any other Five Nights with James games. Yeah, that's it for Five Nights with James 5 at QUINQUENNIALS End. And let's talk about other stuff. So, I wanted to make a date with James previously, before Five Nights with James 5 Remake. Five Nights with James 5, basically. There was supposed to be a date with James where it's like a dating sim with James. You have to either there's gonna be 2 endings, or you can be his lover or his enemy, and he can turn to like evil James and stuff. But for now, I put it on hold. I'm not sure if I'm gonna turn it to game, or maybe into like a YouTube thing where, you know, you can click. There's a choice-based video where 2 video links appear and you have to choose your path, like in Space with Markiplier, basically. Maybe I'll do it. And also, after Five Nights with James QUINQUENNIALS End, I'm gonna be back working on Five Nights at Creators The Warehouse. I might change the name. It's a game that I started making in 2021. It was my first collecting game, so the code is messy as duck, as fuck, as duck, as frick. It's horrible. It's just bad. So I'm gonna be remaking the whole thing as well. It's also gonna be pretty good. It's a pretty big game. After Five Nights at Creators The Warehouse, I'm planning on one final James game, which is not going to be really lore relevant, but is hopefully I'm going to be able to make it. It's a custom night, an ultimate custom night with all the James characters. So if I'm able to pull it off, then great. We're going to be seeing Indominus Warfare and Ender 9511 trying the fucking however 20 mode that there's going to be. I don't know how many characters there are, because I'm going to be adding some new ones in this new game that I'm making. So we'll see if I'm able to make it. I'll update you after Five Nights at Creators if I'm gonna be doing it. And yeah, that's pretty much it for future games. Those two after Five Nights at James and QUINQUENNIALS end. I don't really have any other ideas. So yeah, that's pretty much the video. Now I'm gonna move on to a section where the people that played the game, so Indominus Warfare, Ender 9511, and some others, talked about their thoughts on Five Nights at James, which if you're someone who hasn't played the games or just watched them or whatever, then maybe they can pursue you into playing the games, which hopefully it'll work. Alright, well, take it off, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video. CreatorTheMod, out.
Hi, I'm Ender, and I'm one of the few people who have suffered through the Five Nights at James series, and I'd want to talk about it. So, first things first, I'd like to go back on my previous comment there. I didn't really suffer through this game. It's quite the opposite, actually. I loved playing this game through its entirety. It was like all of the games, the entire series. I loved playing Five Nights at James, like all of the games. They were awesome. Five Nights at James 2 was a little iffy. Not gonna lie to you about that, but that's just my opinion because it was a little glitchy. But in other words, all the games, they were perfect. All the other games in that series, like every minute detail, loved it. I loved the pacing. I loved the reaction time you need. I love the memory that you need to play these games. Like, it's awesome. Like, I stream on Twitch, right? And I found playing this game very entertaining for me, and people also found it entertaining to watch. Because when I first started streaming this game, right, my viewers and my followage boosted a lot because of how entertaining this game, like this series, is to play. Like, it's entertaining for both me and the viewers, but that's not like all about the game. Like, it's just like the series is awesome. The series is amazing, and I love it. Five Nights with James 4 was my absolute favorite game to play because it had everything, like everything from. I mean, it doesn't look very graphically perfect. Like, the graphics don't look amazing, but like behind the scenes of it, like the game is coded like really good. I'm not gonna lie to you. The game, like chef's kiss. Like, the coding, the characters, they're awesome. The characters are really awesome. I love them. I got a laugh out of them. And like, they're not even just jokes. Like, some of them may seem like they're jokes, but they are not. These characters are not jokes. Like, these guys will jump you if you forget to time these guys the right way. It is amazing. And to memorize these characters and some of their lines, like, you're so bad. Like, I love the lines of these characters, some of these characters, memorizing what they do. Anyways, I'd also like to talk about the lore of this game. There is lore behind this small indie series. Like, it is, I love it. I love it. Like, there's cassette to it. Five Nights at James 4, right? it has cassette tapes and notes that you can read through to get the lore of this game. It's not even just in 5 Nights with James 4. It's spread throughout the entire series, that it was making a story, some secret background story of these characters, this universe that it's in, and I love it. I love that too. It's just like those small things that you can see that you can just it just makes the game a whole lot better. For a fan game, a FNAF fan game esque type gameplay, I just loved it. Hands down, love this game. I love the creator of this game. He's amazing. He's an awesome guy. Not even like behind the scenes too, he's awesome. And yeah, that's my opinion on Five Nights with James as a series. I loved it. I loved the gameplay, I loved the characters, I loved the lore, and I'm liking how the story is piecing together as well. And I really like the creator of this game, created the mod. He's awesome. Big shout out to creator, and big shout out to this game. You can find it on GameJolt. It is free. Just look up Creator the Mod, or just look up 5 Nights with James, and you will probably find this entire series. I highly recommend this game, like these collections of games here. And yeah, that's my opinion on 5 Nights with James.
Five Nights with James is great. Okay, I know that's a lot considering I only played 3 and up, but still, the dedication to this series I think is really cool. How it started off as this fun little series made to be made with friends, to all the games now being remade to assure that they're of a good quality. There are 5 games, but the third is the one I personally started with, and boy was it a great one to start with. When I first saw the 2D art style, I admit I was a little disappointed. As someone who plays a lot of FNAF games and fan games, you come to sort of see these 2D games as being lesser because a lot of the time they're made by kids who play games in Scratch, and they always have 2 doors and light switches and nothing really unique about them. But seeing all the unique mechanics in the office really changed the way I see these types of games. Unfortunately, the game is pretty easy, which I understand because a lot of the mechanics are things I haven't seen done in any other game. When you make a game, you want it to have some unoriginal mechanics so you know how to balance them. Well, that's it for the video. Hopefully now you understand what makes Five Nights with James to me so special, and what makes the third game, despite its flaw of being super easy, really good in my opinion. And I want to do more Five Nights with James, like deep dive analyses, I don't know. I want to do more Five Nights with James analysis, but I don't want to make the video length any longer than it needs to be, and it's already pretty long that it's meant to be, and I'm pretty sure creator wanted me to make this video less than a minute long, so yeah, that's about it. See ya.